Hey, hey now. Look, let me get it together. How's it going? How's it going? I want to see if I can see myself. Let's see. I don't know what's going on with my TikTok, but it keep acting like I'm a new person. What's going on? What's going on? Let's see. Let's see. Hope everybody's having a productive week. I have been busting my butt. Oh, we've been busting my butt. But you know, it's part of it's part of what we do. Okay, can I still see that? Yeah, okay, I can see that chat. Turn y'all up a little bit so I can hear. And let's turn this up a little bit too. Hello, hello. There we go. All right. Getting on through there. Let me pull the questions that I got. We got some pretty good questions today, so I'm excited about that. I don't need that. There we go. That's kind of small. Hope you can see that. What if I move this over here? Nope. Oh, I don't even know what that is. I think you just gone, there we go. Bully me. Maybe I should change the color of those letters. Let's see. How about that? Ooh, absolutely not. Can we undo that? Oh, maybe I need to do them both. Okay. All right, all right. So how's it going? What y'all doing? Man. It's Halloween coming up. I got so much to do. I got a glory hole drying in my garage right now because it was too windy today. I was trying to paint the glory hole, but it was too windy and leaves kept falling and stuff on it because I got a big old tree in my backyard. Elmer is in my backyard. And so it was a really large tree and I just couldn't get, I couldn't have stuff getting on my paint. So I did a bunch of sanding today, getting it down. I should have been done it, but it just was raining and stuff, and so I was like, oh well. I definitely didn't want to sand it down inside, so I did get to like sand it down today, sand the door down. And we used it before, but it is there was it was in the attic and there was a lot of like scratches and stuff on there, and I was like, dang, this is like beat up. Like it looked like that I done took it through took it through there. But I did get it ready to go. People are really excited. I don't know if you've ever, okay, so this is a very adult conversation that we're about to be having, but I don't know if you've ever used a glory hole or know anything about it, but it's actually a very fun experience. Um, People love it, and it's not something that you get to do often. So that's not a thing that people can regularly get to do to, say they were able to or have used a glory hole. So um, it's a pretty fun experience, and people they like it. When I have a party, they like the glory hole. So I have to get it ready, um, so that people can use it. Um, and I haven't used it in a couple years. Why is this being so annoying to me? Sorry, it's the Virgo in me. I can't be having stuff's in my way and it's getting on my nerves. Okay, and then I want to move this again. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how we do this today. Okay, if you can see, we're a little bit more relaxed today. That's because I took the table down because we got a party coming up. So I couldn't keep the table here because I needed the space. So so we don't have but to do what we need to do, we don't need that much. So let's talk about a little bit about how we do what we're trying to do today. I am a certified sexuality educator. I have been teaching sex education for 11 years. At this point, it'll be 12 years in February, which is awesome. It's an awesome job. I love what I do. I love talking about sex. I love talking about buttholes, and I love helping people, find the best version of their sexual selves. Like that is uh-oh, I'm messing with the light. Sorry. That is I'm very proud of the work that I do. You feel free to Google me if you think that I'm some kind of charlatan. I would encourage you to vet your sources well before you just start listening to everybody. But I have, if you Google me, that is actually all my stuff that comes up. Um, I've been at it for a minute, man. I've been at it for a minute. So, sex education is my passion. Teaching people about sex education is what I thrive to do. I love the work that I do, and I'm going to be doing it forever. I'm currently getting ready for a party. I don't know. Can I show y'all that? I'm probably going to get in trouble, but let me see if I can. It's a little poster right there. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Okay, hold on. I don't think it's that bad. Is it? It might be a little bad. But um, one of the things that we do is we allow the participants to send in pictures to use for the erotic exhibit. And so what we do is I have to go and convince UPS to print them off. And then we take the pictures and we use them and we build art, erotic art that we hang up around the event so that people can be a part of the event as well. And so those are people also mixed in with some art that we downloaded or whatever. But many of the pictures are of people who have attended events, and some of them haven't attended at all. Just people who have submitted pictures to showcase at the party. So we'll hang those up around the party. Like getting everything together. I had to get out yesterday and go do some stuff, and so I gotta get a new one done. Hopefully, I'll have time to get it done. I don't know if I am gonna have time, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, so our Halloween party is a big deal. It's a People love it. I live in um a closed practice, right? Because talk about sex or talk about thing. I'm touching stuff again. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But it's a good space, and it's good. I feel good being able to create a space where people can come and talk about their sexual health, where people can come and try different things and have a safe space to be able to explore. That's why we build a glory hole. I usually build something every year. I didn't build anything this year. This year we're going with, let me see if I can. That's gonna be our feature presentation for this year is going to be that little punishment chair. So I'm excited about that. Um, but I also, the one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do is because there's definitely not a lot of places for Black folk to be able to experience kink in a safe manner and to get in a community with a lot of with other Black folk who are also interested in a kinkier lifestyle and things like that. So um, it's a completely wholesome practice. Like, I know that it sounds bad, but the it's very educational. Like, we go through. I teach people how to use wax and how to tie each other up and how to start conversations about consent and all those different types of things too. So we are here. We're having fun. I put a lot of things in for people to try and so on and so forth. But it's also it's also fun, right? It's also cool to be able to be in one of those environments where people feel free enough to do some of the things that they get into. And that last year when I did this event, one of the attendees, when they were leaving, they were like, "Hey, I think I got a new armband." And so we do armbands to show like what you're into, so that you don't get caught up in um, conversations about things that you don't want to get caught up in, right? And so you don't, if you're not wanting to be approached like that, if you are dominant or submissive or whatever that you are, we have armbands for that, and those armbands signify your community. And before you engage in any conversations or you know get deep in with people here, you can look at the armbands and see, am I in a conversation with someone who is willing to reciprocate the type of things that I'm on? And each dynamic has a crosshair, right? And so depending on what you're into, if you like to be tied up, there is the people who like tying up. If you like to be watched, there's the people who like to watch. If you are submissive, then there is a dominant. And so there's a community that exists in those worlds that many people don't have the language for. And so the armbands give you the language to be able to discuss it. And I plan on, like, I'm currently working on a book to be able to outline, because again, I've been doing this for a while at this point. And so I can outline how you can do this and it not turn into a Diddy party, okay? Which really made me sad because all of that happened with the Diddy situation definitely could have been avoided, right? It absolutely could have been avoided. You don't need to coerce, you don't need to convince. There are people who want to and are willing to turn it upside down just to have a safe space to do it. So you don't have to drug people, you don't have to force them, you don't have to do any of those things to be able to have a successful play party. And there's going to be a time when you're going to see me and I'm going to be the one on the background facilitating those for much bigger audiences, because again, I've been at this for a while. So I'm looking forward to being able to to do this on a larger scale, but also I love doing it on the scale that I'm on right now. I love the people that attend. I have such a good time. I'd be woe out, and not because I'm doing anything. That's not why we're having this party, but just because it's so much energy to put it together, to make sure everyone's safe, to be checking in constantly as people are moving about, to help them explore and talk them through these different things and convince them that it's okay, and all of that different stuff. So it's a lot. It is a lot of work. Like, don't let nobody tell you that. Maybe that's why he be drugging them instead. But if you just do the work, you can have people that are willing to come back and that are willing to explore in their sexuality and in their kinky nature without having to catch a case for it, because it's totally not necessary. Like, it's not. You do not have to do all of that. Please believe me, you do not. They will show up and drop trowel easily if you just create the right situations. And so that's what we've been working on. I still got another coat of paint to put on the glory hole, and then I need to turn it over and put it on the other side. But other than that, like, all the rest of the pieces are done for the glory hole. I saw that they had like different types of, like, you can get like a portable glory hole that's just like a sheet with a hole in the middle. I like that too. Like, there's so many different ways to experience kink. Ours probably cost like $25 to build that glory hole. Like, if that. Um the door was thrifted, the paint was $2. The tools, we already had the tools, but you can create these types of environments in your own space with very little money, if you know that it's safe to do that. Some people don't know that you can have a glory hole in your house. If that's what you want, you can put a glory hole on the closet, you can put it on the garage, you can put it wherever you want to put it. And it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to be able to create those types of things. Many of the things that I build over the years, I build with discount wood. I build with not knowing how to do no numbers. Like, I don't know how to do none of that stuff. I can't multiply fractions. I can't do any of those things, okay? But you can still build all that stuff. You can still do it. If you have the money, you can buy it. Like, that's a thing too, is that a lot of the things that you see in adult videos and stuff, you think that those are intangible objects. You can buy all of them. You can get all of it. And for a reasonable price too. Like, doesn't even cost a whole lot of money to be able to get in there. But even if you don't want to spend hardly anything, again, the glory hole that we built probably cost $25 at the top for everything. And that's for the hinges, for the paint. I got the paint off of Home Depot. Has like a little discount, a little discount rack that people who bring paint back that they don't like or whatever, and you don't need anything super for it, but you can still very much build these things without a lot of resources. You don't need a whole lot to be able to enjoy some of the kinkier things in life. Okay. So we did have some questions, so let's talk about a little bit about how we do this, what's going on. I'm a sex educator. I am here to answer your sexual health questions. Depending on the program or the app that you're watching this on, there may be built-in moderators for those applications that don't allow your question to make it through. If you notice that I'm not really answering your question, or it seems like I would never be ignoring you, unless you were being disrespectful, then I'll ignore you, but I would never be purposely ignoring your question. So if you do have a question, try to put your house hat on, put your, Grey's Anatomy hat on, and try to ask your questions in a way that that feel like more like a medical question. Even if you're asking like about getting your toes sucked or whatever, that is fine. I personally don't have a moderator in me. Whatever question you want to ask, I am here to answer it. That is my job. That's what I get paid to do, is answer your sexual health questions. So, but I don't want you to get your account blocked. I don't want you to be in any kind of trouble. So, make sure that when you're asking your questions, that you're asking in a way that is that works with the application that you're watching this through. Because I'll be back. If they block, I'll probably get blocked. I'll only really get blocked on TikTok. I've already done the legwork for Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and all those types of things. So I don't usually get too much trouble from them. But TikTok, baby, they'll get me out of here so fast. They'll get me out of here so fast. So, I mean, get me out of here. But I'll be back. I'm always back because, again, the material that we're talking about, I'm here to teach you. I'm here for you to learn. And, the material may seem like it is, the material may seem obscene, but that's because we have created a stigma around sex and sex education that makes it, the systems think that when you're talking about sex that you're doing something inappropriate. And that's not what we're doing, right? We're not talking about things that, and we are, but not in a sense of I'm trying to sell you anything or trying to convince you to do anything. I'm here just to answer whatever questions you have so that you are engaging in your sexual acts in a safe and healthy manner. Because the point is to be able to have sex for a long time. And you can't do that if ruining the merchandise, if you don't know what's going on, if, you are out here being reckless. That's not what we want. And in a time where a lot of the resources that you originally had, as far as, STI testing and all that is, has been eradicated in a lot of states, it's important for you to know what's going on. It's important for you to have an idea of your sexual health. It's important to be able to use your sexual knowledge for as long as it's available. And you can have a long and healthy sex life if you take care of your body, if you take care of your sexual health. You can have a very long and fruitful sexual existence. And that's what I want for you. Okay. So, if you don't want people in your business, but you have questions, which I completely understand. If you're professional and you don't want, a question about your booty hole to, pop up on your boss's desk, you can send those questions to me and I can bring them back to the chat for us to discuss, where it is not necessarily attached to your name, but you are still able to ask your sexual health questions. So we have some of those questions. If you don't want to email me, you can find me on any of the social medias. Just look for Coach Catasha and, you should find me almost everywhere. So you want to just message me your sexual health questions as well. I'll be happy to answer those. Either way, however you want to get me the info, I'm here to answer it. So, okay, so let's talk about some of the questions that we've already received, and I'm going to put them in the chat. And okay, so our first question is, what should I do if I don't enjoy sex anymore? Am I asexual? So let me drop that in the chat. Okay, so of course that's a really good question. I would be concerned. If you're saying that you don't enjoy sex anymore. I think there's some questions that you may need to dig into to figure out what's going on. If you enjoyed it at some point in time and now you are feeling some type of way about it, I would ask, what do you think the catalyst of that is? Are you experiencing pain during sex? Do you feel like you're not receiving connection during sex? Like, what is it about sex and the sexual activity that's turning you off? Because usually if there was something that you enjoyed at one time, but you are not enjoying it now, there's usually a catalyst behind that. So, if it's just like, I just don't think that I want to be in that type of relationship with someone. Sexuality is broad and it's big, right? And so even though you may not be sexually attracted to someone, you could still have romantic attraction to people. You can still have, still seek platonic attractions with people, things like that. And so, if it's no longer about like sharing your body, if you're not interested in sharing your body anymore, then there is some questions to be asked. You didn't give me a lot of information, so I don't know. But as far as being asexual, a person who is asexual is someone who doesn't build the bridge to sexual attraction in the same ways that uh, you and I maybe, or I will say me and other people that are like me, which is actually like a lot of people. There's only about 1% of the population that actually identifies as asexual. So that leaves 99% of the population who identifies with some other form of sexuality. So, with that, a person who's asexual doesn't necessarily build the bridge to arousal in the same way that, or desire in the same way that you would typically associate with it, right? And so if say Megan Thee Stallion walks through here and she got her titties out, right? That's might make you be like, whoa, 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 what we doing? Hold on, let me get. But someone who's asexual doesn't, that's not the thought that they get when they see, you know, a penis or breasts or any of that. So it's just that they don't build arousal. The lane toward that is not the same as it is toward for us, and that they don't have that bridge that makes certain catalysts, certain things that usually spark desire in us. They don't have that catalyst. It doesn't, seeing those things or smelling or talking or tasting or any of that doesn't create a desire for sexual interaction with them. Okay, and it's nothing wrong with that. That's just not the way their bridge is built. Most people, again, 99% of the other people do have some type of catalyst that creates desire. Okay, it could be an intellectual conversation, it could be an emotional connection, it could be a visual connection, it could be a smell factor, it can be a kiss, it can be touch, it can be any of those things that will create desire, which in turn sparks arousal. Okay. So if you are no longer enjoying sex, I would ask you, are you having the type of sex that you originally want? Right? Is the type of sex that you're engaging in the type that is built for you? Because many times if you are not an advocate for your sexual health, you may just be experiencing sex as a passenger and not necessarily experiencing sex as a willing participant. Okay. And by that, I mean that the sex that you're having is just the sex that someone is giving to you. And it doesn't necessarily take into concern what you want and what you desire of that experience. And so, if you have continuously had that as a marker for your sexual activity, you may grow a resentment for the activity because it's not the sex that you want. Even if you don't know the type that you want, you just know that this is not what you want, right? This is not the type of sex that I want. This is not the type of connection that I want. And so, with that, I would ask, do you know what your sexuality is? Do you know how your desire is built? Do you know what type of sexual activity you are interested in? Okay. And again, some of that you hear people say there's, people have different types of sexualities where they say, oh, I'm a demisexual, which means they need a emotional connection before they have sex. Or, I'm a spontaneous, I have a spontaneous sexuality. So that means that I can be thrust into desire by different types of stimuli. There's a lot of different ways that your sexuality can manifest itself. Are you attracted to masculinity? Are you attracted to femininity? Are you attracted to a wide range of things? Are you pansexual? It doesn't matter what the outer presents. If you like it, you like it, right? Are you attracted to yourself? Are you attracted to bigger bodies? Do you have an affinity for smaller bodies? Do you like harder bodies? Do you like soft bodies? Do you like different types of smell? Do you like a little kink in your sexual activity? All of these types of things are ways that you need to know how you experience sexuality. And the goal is for you to be able to take that knowledge and to find a partner that you can build on that with. Okay. And so if you want to have a healthy sexual existence, you're going to have to know what you like. What do you want? That's a really hard thing for some people to come to terms with because people are not accustomed to delegating or advocating for their sexual desires. But it's really important for you to be able to find the tribe and find the people that you're looking for to help you build upon that. You have to have some sense of what it is that you want, right? You can't just leave it up to chance that you get good sex. You can't just hope that, the person that you're pulling in here with is going to care about your orgasm or care about how you like to have sex. You can't assume that, and you can't understand or advocate for it if you also don't have an idea of what it is. And that doesn't mean you have to know outright, like, I like this and this. Some things you'll learn along the way. There is a curiosity that's necessary to be able to have a good, healthy sexual existence. You definitely need to be curious about sex. And that is something that is not necessarily conditioned in us, especially in other types of societies, that you can be curious about sex, that you can want to know more about sex, that you can want to learn and be educated about sex in sexual existences of other types of people. So I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely healthy for you to be concerned about sex, for you to want to receive more education about sex, and for you to figure out how to enjoy sex in the way that you want to enjoy it. It is going to take some advocacy from you. It is going to take some curiosity about the things around you and what some of the other people are experiencing. But it's also going to take some vulnerability for you as well. You have to open yourself up to receiving the different ways that people experience things. And like, I get into these conversations and these debates with clients all the time about, like, oh God, I'm not doing that, and you want me to do what, and he like what, and she want what. If you are never going to be open to these different types of things, then you are not curious about sexual activity. And you're not curious about sex, and you're not curious about pleasure. And that, being curious about pleasure, is the secret ingredient to a healthy sexual existence. You have to be curious about pleasure, because everything that those people are doing that you're frowning your nose up at, it feels good. It feels good. That's why they do it. They don't do it because it feels bad. They do it because it feels good. And so you need to find out why it feels good. Why does it feel good to them? Why are they having fun and I'm balling my nose up? Right? If they're doing it, they liking it. And so you need to figure out why people are liking it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like it too. But you need to open up your mind to the possibility that this thing that you frowning your nose up at is actually fun. It's actually a good thing to do. Like, that people are enjoying that experience. Sorry, I'm way behind in um my water intake today. Way behind. I was trying to be grown and stay up with my husband last night. And I was up to 6 o'clock this morning like a dunce. I don't know who I think I am, baby. Who am I? I have no idea. But yes, so that would be my suggestion, is to find out what kind of sexual activity you're interested in, and advocate to receive what you are looking for. Because you never know. You never know what you might like, man. I tell people that all the time. You It's so much stuff out there. It's so much shit to get into. Listen, it's so much. It's so much to get into. So don't cheat yourself, baby. Treat yourself and get in there and see what them people are talking about. See what they doing. Um, but yeah, okay, let me see. Do we have anything else? I hope I answered that question for you. Again, I do think it's important to know what you like, to know what you want, and to be able to express that to someone else, to be able to say, "Hey, can you do this thing? Um can we talk about how to do this? Can we incorporate a little bit more of this into our sexual existence?" Um those things are ooh, okay. Those things are important. That's an important part of your existence. All right. So, sex should be fun. It should be an experience that you look forward to. If you are not, then you need to figure out why. Like, what is the thing that you feel like is stopping you? And if it's because, you just, you got your heart broke or any of that stuff, all of those are valid, very valid feelings um, concerning connection and sexual activity, but it should not stop you from wanting to be curious about what people are experiencing sexually, what you could be experiencing sexually. So it's important to not um, count yourself out unless that's what it really feels like. And again, I'm not invalidating that as an option. If you feel like sex and entertaining someone with your body is too much, take a break for sure. Take a break. But if it is something that you would like to open up more in the future, you are going to have to get curious about why you feel the way you feel. Um what's keeping that away from you? What is the catalyst to those feelings? So, it's important. The likelihood that you are asexual is low, but not zero. Okay, low but not zero. And again, the one of the ways that you can um, one of the ways that you can differentiate between that is just again how you build the desire for sexual activity. And if you've always felt that way, asexual people have, although they've probably existed for a very long time, they have the name and the culture of it has kind of just gotten on the map within the last 5-10 years. So, um, but there is a group of people that you could get with. You can find a community of other people who are also asexual to help you to get through some of that if you really do feel like you are asexual. So there's a community for everything. For whatever it is that you're interested in, there's a community of people who are already together who are also interested in that thing. Okay? So don't count yourself out. Um Okay, so if you have a sexual question, please feel free. You can drop that question in the chat. I'll be happy to answer any sexual health questions that you may have. Any questions about sex, relationships, um, about gender identity, sexuality, any of those things, I'm here to answer. I can help you with that. That's my specialty. Okay. So, don't feel embarrassed or any of that. I am not gonna judge you. That is not my job. I am not here to tell you, how and who and what. That's not my business. Um, I'm actually probably gonna try to convince you to do more. Get into more shit. But I want you to be able to do the things that you are doing safely and to be able to have a long and healthy sexual existence and have a long sex life. Okay. And the only way we can do that is if we are being safe and we are not taking, too many risks. And you're going to take some risks. Okay. You are going to do that. But you don't want to be reckless and risky. All right. Okay. The next question that we have is, how do I talk to my partner about not being ready for sex? This is a really good question. Make sure I put it in the chat. How do I talk to my partner about not being ready for sex? It's not okay. So it's not really as difficult as I won't say that, because sometimes starting that conversation is important. But I think this is a good way for you to build the habit of learning how to advocate for yourself. Okay. And so if you feel like you're being pressured, that's a red flag you should be listening to. Okay. If you feel like someone is trying to coerce you or trying to convince you, that's a good reason to be apprehensive about the activity. Okay. You should be, again, there should be curious enthusiasm when you are engaging in sexual activity. If you are not experiencing curious enthusiasm, let that red flag fly. Okay. Be very mindful of what it is, because it may be something that already has a name that you just don't know, but your feelings about it, because you should want to engage in sexual activity with your partner. Okay. If you are not ready, then you are not ready. And that's just all it is to it. I need more. I need something else. I need more time. I need more connection. I need more intimacy. All of those things are very plausible reasons to want to wait to engage in sexual activity. So you not being ready, it's not a bad thing. It's not a topic that you've got to grit your teeth to try to figure out. If you're just not ready, you're not ready. And people understand that. You can understand that if it's time for you to go vegetarian. You can understand it if I tell you that we're going to jump off this building, we're going to, go parasailing or whatever. If you're just not ready, you're not ready. So people can understand not being ready, but it is the coercion that comes behind that of, someone might be making you feel less than because you're not ready. Someone might be taking advantage of the fact that you're not ready. They may try to convince you or try to demean you for not being ready. Those are really good reasons not to engage in sexual activity with that person. Okay. Because if it is, again, you're not giving me curious enthusiasm, you're giving me coercion and, grape. We don't want that. We don't want that. So being able to advocate for yourself and say, hey, I'm not ready. This is not something I'm really ready to push in on at the time, is a tool that you will be able to use in other parts of your life. So this is a really good time to work out how to do it. Okay. If it is a situation where you feel like you're being put in a box where you're supposed to be ready, feel free to tell them all the reasons you're not. And then you can always have that conversation. You don't have to have that conversation inside of that box, right? And so if you feel like it's too difficult to have in the moment, you can find another way to communicate those needs. If you need to write a letter, if you need to text them, if you need to talk on the phone with them versus being face to face with them, if you need to find any other way to communicate how this is making you feel, those are all still valid ways to communicate as well. So don't feel like you're being pressed into a box to engage in sexual activity. If it is not curious enthusiasm, it is a no-go for me, baby. I mean the biggest no-go. 0 stars, do not recommend. It should be something that you want to do, that you're excited about doing, even if you don't know what it is. Even if you are trying something new or all of those things, there should be a curious enthusiasm. If that does not exist, leave it where it is. You do not have to give your body to anyone that you don't want to. You don't have to be pressed and pushed into making a decision about your body. That is not the way any of that has to work. And you control that. And being able to do that, if you can do that in a setting that doesn't put you in any type of harm's way, then that's even better. So if you're saying that, how do I talk to my partner about not being ready? I'm assuming that the lines of communication between you and your partner are open for that. There are some people who do not have those lines of communication open. I do not want to dismiss that. If you have a partner that's violent, or a partner that has other types of control over you, financial control, emotional control, those types of things, it can be really difficult to advocate for yourself. I would absolutely recommend therapy, okay? Because a therapist can help you break down exactly where that breakdown in the conversation is coming from. They can help you go through the talking points and give you a safe space to practice how to do that without being in harm's way. But you are going to have to build up the tools to be able to have those conversations, and therapy can help you do that. Okay. There are a lot of things that affect our sexual health that has a background in it. It has a building block that maybe we didn't necessarily put down, but that was put down in our building, right? And so many people have trauma associated with their sexual health. Many people, right? And trauma could not just be assault. It could be the way that you were raised, the way that you were conditioned. It could be religious trauma. Like, there's all different types of things that you may not even understand have an effect on how you view yourself and how you view others around you, that, you're not even making the link to these two things being the same. But it absolutely will have an effect on how you see sex and how you see yourself engaging in sex. So it's a very finicky line, right? It's a very finicky line, but it is a line that we have to learn to visualize. We have to be able to see it when we're there, and then we have to find the tools to get out of it. So again, if you do not feel like you're in a safe space to have that conversation, if you feel like you're being coerced, if you feel like you're getting backed into a corner, like someone's picking you up and not taking you home, or any of those types of things, those situations can make it a lot more difficult to be able to advocate for yourself. Get out the best way you can of that situation. And then minds work, they doubt themselves, they don't understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling about these different types of things. And so it's not helpful to just say, just don't talk to those people and, fight your way out and blah, blah, blah. What I would do and what you would do can be two totally different things, and we can both be right. So take care of yourself the best way you can. Use any other advocacy tools that you have. Some people are naturally people pleasers. Sometimes that can get you in situations where you are going against your own morals, where you're going against your own set of directives. And so we have to build the tools to say, I don't want to do this. One thing about me, baby, I don't do nothing I don't want to do. And I'm not. And I don't, and I'll fight your face about it too. I'm not doing nothing I don't want to do. And even some of the things that I don't want to do, like, if they are things, like if it's for my friends or whatever, then yeah, I don't want to do it. But if it's for my friends, then I'm going to do, I'm still going to show up, even though it's not something that in my heart I want to do, or if I feel exhausted or whatever, I'm still going to show up. But if it's something I don't want to do and my mind and my body don't want to show up, baby, I'm not going on. When there's nothing else for us to talk about, I'm not doing nothing I don't want to do. If I'm not set to have fun, I'm not getting in there. I don't want to do it. I'm not. And I'm not going against my own directives. I'm not putting myself in harm's way to try to please someone else. That people pleasing mentality will have you putting yourself in harm's way to try to make connections with people who don't genuinely want to make connections with you. I would never ask you to do something or try to convince you to do something that you've already said you didn't want to do and that you are apprehensive about doing it. Like, well, I'm not going to say that because I will tell you to be brave. There's some things I want you to be brave for, but I'm never going to try to make you feel bad or try to coerce you after you've said no about doing something that, goes against your moral directive. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to let anyone do that to me either. You're not going to convince me to do shit that that goes against my moral directive. And I don't care who you are. Okay. So, but that is something that I've learned the tools to be able to do. Luckily, I was able to do that really early on in life. I'm the oldest daughter. My mama didn't play that shit. So I learned a long time ago how to advocate for myself and how to stand up for myself. And I've been able to use those tools in other parts of my life. And it is a helpful set of tools to have. But it is also, I understand why it's a hard conversation and why people struggle with, getting to that part. Okay. So hopefully you are able to do that. You are able to, create a network that works for you and that you can use tools that give you the ability to stand up for yourself and to advocate for yourself and advocate for your needs. It's nothing wrong with not being ready for sex. I remember when I was in high school, you were in high school, there's a point when you have to start sex, right? When you have to start engaging, when you are, I'm not going to say have to, but there's a hormonally in your body, you will start to feel changes that will make you more open to the possibility of sexual activity, right? And so when I was in high school, of course, that's when the hormones are doing what they're doing or whatever. And everybody was engaging in sexual activity. But I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm cool. I'm not interested. I don't want to. And, I was very developed at that time frame. I think I was wearing a bra in like sixth grade. Like the titties been tittying for a long time. And so even with that, even with being developmentally, ahead of the curve, I still wasn't interested in it. Like I just wasn't, and I wasn't going to be convinced to do it. I wasn't going to be convinced to go against my moral directive. And so it's very difficult to maneuver at the time frame because I was also still experiencing hormones and all that stuff, but it felt like people were trying to force me. And I don't know, maybe it's the stars or whatever maybe it's the Virgo or whatever, but you're not finna force me to do nothing. I'm not finna be forced to do shit. So, and I've been carrying that all my life. And so I think that a lot of people think that it's a difficult thing to do, but it's not. I recently, was it last summer? No, I think it was last year. I spoke to a group of girls at a high school and they were so concerned about getting pregnant. Like they were just like, what do I gotta do like to not get pregnant? Like I don't want to have a baby. I'm like, it's not as difficult as people make it out to be. I went my whole life never been pregnant. Now I was out there busting it open. Listen, I was upside down. But it's if you have access to sexual health and you know your body and you know how to protect yourself, that's the best tool. Education is the best tool that you can use to help you navigate that world. If you don't know, you can become susceptible to whatever people are offering you. If somebody's telling you the only way that you're valuable is if you have sex, and that's all that you know, then that's what you tie your value to. And so and once you learn that that's not the way that works, the education part of it helps you to be able to see the world in a much broader fashion, right? And so, although, yeah, as a woman, I'm worried about getting pregnant, but not that much because I'm not doing, I'm not recklessly, I am engaging in sexual activity, but I'm not recklessly engaging in it, right? So, if you have children, you have teens, you need to be talking to them about sex. You need to be talking to them about sex education. And I'm not just talking about, wearing a condom and, wait until you married, because that's unrealistic. You did not wait until you were married. Parents be getting on my nerves, acting like they kid is just gonna wait until they get married. You did not. You was fucking in the 7th grade. Like, you just think your kid supposed to be better, like your kid is just gonna be no, your kid is gonna get into the same stuff you was getting into. Please talk to your children about sex. They need to have a conversation. They need to have conversations about intimacy and about consent. Please, if nothing else, you need to be having conversations with your child about consent, about trying to coerce, and what does coercion look like. That is one of the main things that I talk to parents about when it comes to talking to your kid about sex. You need to be talking about coercion, and you need to be talking about, and that coercion likely is going to be coming from someone that is, probably not even in the same age bracket as your child. So let them kids know what they are stepping into, okay? Old people gonna be trying to talk to you. Oh, them teachers that's rubbing on you and rubbing on your shoulders and stuff, they are not safe adults, okay? They need to know that. You need to be having these conversations with them. You need to also be having conversations with your children about pleasure. Did you know? Did you know that strangulation is becoming super common among young adult sexual activity? And I'm talking about, I took a webinar from people who were talking about middle school children engaging in strangulation during their kissing and touching and talking, because they're seeing that. And I want to say strangulation because we say choking, but choking is from the inside, okay? Strangulation is from the outside. And so when you're talking about strangulation, kids are engaging in strangulation during their sexual encounters and not understanding the gravity of what that is. And because they're being taught by adult videos and no one's having the conversations around it, because you just think that kids are not doing that. Kids are not, they're not choking each other. Yes, in the hell they are. Yeah, they are. And again, when I took the webinar, it was like 2 years ago, I took the webinar on it. The people that were giving that webinar were talking about middle school children, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders engaging in strangulation. Do you know how dangerous strangulation is? Like, strangulation is one of the common markers of domestic violence. And if you were to take a domestic violence intake exam, that's one of the questions they ask you. And you have a like 70% chance of, like, I don't know what the number is. Don't quote me on that. But it is very, very high probability that your partner is going to you if they have ever strangled you. Okay, let's hold on. Let's look and see what the data is. Okay, so I'm on the Safe Alliance website, safeaustin.org. It says, okay, so let's talk about, hold on, can I share this? Let me see if I can share it. Hold on. Video, nope. Okay, window capture. Let's see. So we can look at it together because I don't want no problems. Okay. Window capture. Here we go. Okay, online put me up in the corner. Oh, that's not what I'm trying to move. I'm trying to move you. Sorry, hold on, y'all. I need to move it up to the top. Oop, that's not what I meant to do. Come on up. You went down. There we go. Okay. All right, all right. Okay, so let's talk about strangulation versus choking. I don't know why it's two of them. Oh, okay. That's why it's two. What's that one? Okay, here we go. Let me make it smaller so we can see. But again, this is important information when you're talking about choking versus strangulation. Choking is the blockage of your respiratory passage by a foreign object. Choking is a result of a foreign body, such as food or an object, blocking the airway and preventing the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Strangulation is a form of asphyxiation involving the closure of the respiratory passage and or blood vessels in the neck using the application of external pressure of the neck. It often involves the restriction of blood flow through the jugular veins and carotid arteries. So, according to the Training Institute of Strangulation Prevention, nearly 4 in 5 victims of strangulation are strangled manually with hands, and almost all, or 97% of strangulation attempts, also involve blunt force trauma. Okay, so if you are experiencing strangulation, there is a high probability that you are in that is going to grow. Okay. Um, and so, yes, there are some people who use asphyxiation during sexual activity, but there are markers for that, and these kids don't know that. These kids that are engaging in this type of activity have no idea what the history of strangulation and how that works. Uh-oh, did I do that? I did. My bad. The history of what that actually means. So let's look at. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. The odds of homicide increased 750% for victims that have been previously strangled by their partner. Okay? So if you are experiencing domestic violence and your partner has put their hands around your neck, the likelihood that you are going to be by that partner goes up by 750%. Okay? 700. If that abuser has access to firearms, the odds of female homicide increase by 1,100%. Okay? So you're talking about an act that people are known, they know that it is very dangerous, okay? And that if someone is doing that to you outside of a sexual context, then you have a higher propensity of being unalived, okay? These kids don't know anything about that. They don't know any of the tools or how to do it or any of that. They just see it online and they're mimicking the behaviors that they're seeing online. I think that we all understand how dangerous that is, but if you're not having that conversation with your kid is learning from what they are seeing online. And that is unhealthy. And it teaches them that strangulation is not that serious. when it is real fucking serious. It's very, very serious. But again, people are scared to have those conversations. And so they're not having them, and kids are mimicking the behavior. They're actually mimicking a lot of the behaviors. When I first started this 11 years ago, 11 years ago, I remember taking a class where this was, of course, at the height of the religious basis of sex education, where kids were opting to go in the back door for their virginity versus the front because they didn't want to lose their virginity, right? That's how they were marking virginity, because of course kids don't know better. They don't know that virginity is the absence of sexual activity. They're just thinking that it's PIV, which is penis in vagina, right? So they were going in the back door, children going in the back door to avoid losing their virginity in the hopes of being able to keep their moral and spiritual relationship with the Lord. Okay. They were also engaging in oral more common and more often so that they could beat the "I'm still a virgin" allegations. Now, mind you, this was 11 years ago. When I first started, I remember taking that class. And so you have behaviors that these kids are mimicking, that they're seeing online, and there's no conversation around it, right? You don't, as an adult, you don't even know you should be having conversations about anal sex with kids. But some of those kids are losing their virginity in the back door first. And I personally know kids that have lost their virginity by going in the back door first. So whatever conversation you think that you're not supposed to be having, baby, you need to be having all of them. All of them. Talk to your kids about anal. Talk to your kids about oral. They need to know all of those things because they are out here mimicking these behaviors and they have no idea the severity of what they're doing, right? They have no idea of the severity of passing on sexually transmitted infections by engaging in those, especially those two other types of activity. Anal sex makes you more prone to STDs and STIs. I say STDs, that's a word that older people recognize, but STIs, sexually transmitted infections, because it gives you direct access to bloodborne pathogens, okay? So if you are having sex vaginally, you have a barrier. There's a community there. There is a bunch of bacteria who already live there. And so that bacteria is usually on guard, keeping itself in function and whatever. And so, yes, you can be exposed to it, but it doesn't give you it access directly to your bloodstream. Okay. If you are having sex in the back door, you are going to experience tears of the anus around the anus, and those tears lead directly into the bloodstream. So they don't know that. They don't know that you can get sexually transmitted infections in your throat, that you can get chlamydia and you can get gonorrhea and all those things in your mouths. They have no idea about that. And so it's so important that you are not thinking that your kid is just going to save themselves for marriage, and that they know how to advocate for themselves, and that they know how to have the conversations about sexual activity. You need to be proactive and talking to them kids. And honestly, you probably, I don't even know how old they are, but you probably already too late. Like, listen, they've already seen, if nothing else, they've already been exposed to sexual material, and how they have categorized what they've seen. You don't have any idea about that. You don't have any clue. So just, keep in mind that I don't like this straw. Sorry. talk to them kids. Talk to them about sex, man. You can't leave it up to someone else. You need to be talking to them about sex. You need to be talking to you about sex. You don't even know. They don't know. You don't know either. None of y'all know. So you have to have some curiosity, and that curiosity is going to make you safer. It's going to make you a safer sexual participant. You need to be safer. It's important. Okay. All right. All right. We an hour in. Let me make sure we don't have any questions. I'm not missing nothing. All right, all right. We look like we good. So we'll be back here every Wednesday, doing a live Q&A of your sexual health questions. If you have questions, or you're shy and you don't want to ask your questions, drop your questions in the chat. Feel free to send those to me. You can send them to any of my inboxes. Actually, I didn't check this today. I didn't check it. Let's look and see. If you have like any questions or want to discuss, where are my? Oh, that's not what I want. This is what I want. No, it's not. It still didn't come up. Oh, here we go. Let's see. I did not check the website to see if I have any questions in there. Oh, sorry. If you sent it there, it'll be on her next Wednesday. I did pull some out though, so it's not like none of them got pulled out. I did pull some out. But yeah, you can send them to either any of my inboxes, send in my social media inboxes. I will be happy to answer like whatever questions you have. I want you to know I'm not in the business of leaving you out there without, some type of resource. It's important that you have a resource, even to, oh, okay. So I need to reset my password. Okay, girl. Oh, I'm supposed to be. Here. That's where I wanted to be. Okay. You know what? Every time I get in here, I don't know where I'm going. I just be in here touching stuff. Is it in here? I don't think so. I also think they changed the whole. Oh yeah, I'm in the right place. Okay. What's today? The 29th? I hope y'all ready for Halloween. Make sure you send me a picture of your costume because I want to see whatever your costume is. Tag me in it so I can see because I love Halloween. It's my second. Well, yeah, maybe my second. It's a toss up between Halloween and my birthday. So Christmas is my first favorite holiday, of course. And I'm super ready for Christmas. And then it's either Halloween or my birthday. Um, it's probably Halloween because I work really hard on Halloween and then my birthday. But it's not a close third. It's a close second, right under Halloween. Because my birthday is definitely my favorite, one of my favorite holidays. So I hope y'all have a safe Halloween, that you enjoy yourselves. I'm gonna be getting off of here and getting back to work because I need to go put another coat on this door before the night is up, and then turn it over tomorrow and put another coat on it again. So we'll be painting it for a couple days, just because it can't be outside because it's so windy that leaves and bugs. I went out there and it was a spider crawling. Like, get off of my door. Um, but yeah, just trying to get it together. So I appreciate you for coming in, everybody for sending questions. Hope that I was able to answer your questions, and I will see y'all back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time so that we can do our live Q&A. And thank you for participating. Thank you for trusting me with your questions and your answers. I appreciate you for helping this be. And peace.